Good afternoon, I'm Riza Diaz. This is One News Now. Malacanang says vaccines from Sinovac will finally arrive on Sunday. The Chinese pharmaceutical company was granted an emergency use authorization by the Food and Drug Administration earlier this week. Let's get more details about this. Maricel Halili will be joining us live from Mandaluyong. Mase, will the shipment include all 600,000 Sinovac doses as promised?
Yes, Riza, that is what we're expecting this coming Sunday. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque said that finally around 600,000 doses of Sinovac will be arriving this coming Sunday. These are all donations from the Chinese government. 100,000 doses of those will be directly inoculated to the members of the armed forces.
Mase, we have some questions here. What assurance did the palace give to the public regarding coronavac safety and efficacy?
Riza, earlier today, presidential spokesperson Harry Roque reiterates that there's an assurance that it is safe to use, particularly Sinovac, the vaccine which will come from China. He said that the threshold of the World Health Organization is about 50%. So it means that the 50.4% efficacy rate of Sinovac is not a cause of concern. He actually explained that in Brazil, the reason why the efficacy rate is only 50.4% is because they concentrated on healthcare workers exposed on COVID-19 patients. Of course, if a person is more exposed on virus, they are more vulnerable to get COVID-19. But Secretary Roque said 50% is better than no protection at all.
Mase, how about the other brands of vaccines? Are there any updates?
Unfortunately, we still don't have exact date regarding the arrival of other brands of vaccines, particularly those vaccines which will come from the COVAX facility. During the public address of President Duterte last night, Secretary Galvez mentioned that they are still negotiating with these vaccines which will come from the COVAX facility, particularly on the indemnity agreement. Secretary Galvez mentioned that they do not want to waive the blanket protection that the Pfizer and AstraZeneca and other Western vaccines are asking. He feels that it is important that to acknowledge gross negligence, if there is, from the vaccine makers.
I see. Mase, on another topic, we'd like to know what is the palace's reaction to the misencounter between QCPD and PDEA and Commonwealth last night. Does the president already know about this?
Yes, Riza, Secretary Roque said that the president learned about this incident. And of course, it saddens them that another incident of misencounter happened yesterday. President Duterte, through presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, said that this will, or the authorities will investigate this incident and they will let the justice prevail.
And what did Secretary Roque say about Justice Secretary or Secretary Guevara's statement at the UN Human Rights Council that the police failed, according to him, to comply with protocols while conducting anti-drug operations?
Secretary Roque said that, well, obviously, Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara has evidence as a basis for this report. But because of this statement from Justice Secretary Minardo Guevara, it simply proves that the government or the national government is doing its job in checking whether the government is doing its job and making sure that justice prevails in the country and there won't be any illegal operations against illegal drugs.
Well, thank you always. That was Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong. Now here are other vaccine updates from around the world. The US FDA says Johnson & Johnson's one-dose shot is 100% effective at stopping hospitalization 28 days after vaccination. It also reports that the vaccine turns out 64% effective among trial participants in South Africa where a new variant was detected. Meanwhile, 2 doses of Pfizer's jab cut symptomatic cases by 94% among all age groups, according to a research in Israel. The study, which experts say is the first in the real world to be independently reviewed, involved 1.2 million participants. And the World Health Organization's vaccine sharing program COVAX facility delivers its first shipment to Ghana. The country received a total of 600,000 doses of AstraZeneca shots produced by the Serum Institute of India. Meanwhile, the health department in Region 7 is urging local tourists to undergo RT-PCR testing if they are experiencing COVID-19 symptoms. The province of Cebu earlier issued an executive order dropping the swab test requirement for domestic travelers. In an interview with One News Agenda, DOH Region 7 spokesperson Dr. Marinduque said they will make sure that tourists will comply with the new requirements, such as a medical certificate and COVID-19 symptom checks. Loreche added that protocols are in place should a traveler exhibit coronavirus symptoms during the trip.
That at any given time, at a given point in time na mag-develop sila ng symptoms, they will have to be immediately checked by our doctors. And then, yun na nga sabi ko, i-isolate natin, magte-testing tayo at magko-contact tracing tayo. So pag hinanig po natin yan sila, I believe there is some sort of a compromise between what the government of the province wants and what the Department of Health also believes should be done.
The governor of Marinduque wants tourists at least undertake COVID-19 antigen testing prior to their travel. In an interview with 1PH Totoo Lang, Governor Presbitero Velasco said they want to reopen the tourism industry. But due to the absence of a molecular lab in Marinduque, they cannot immediately process RT-PCR or swab specimens. Velasco called on the Interior Department to consider the different positions of LGUs before harmonizing the policies.
So, yun nga po, we should ask the local government units, iba-iba po kasi yung sitwasyon. Meron po kasing local government unit na maganda po yung kanilang facilities. Kompleto po yung kanilang mga medical team. Kaya po nilang gawa ng paraan kaagad.
Meanwhile, moviegoers in China are flocking back to cinemas as the country reports fewer COVID-19 cases daily. More on that story from Bloomberg Quick Take.
The Golden Globes, the first of a string of award shows, takes place this coming weekend. But what exactly is Hollywood celebrating? Stay-at-home orders, capacity limits, fear of the virus, they've all kept crowds away from theaters for nearly a year. So too, of course, have decisions by studios to delay the release of anticipated blockbusters. The good news is that the picture looks completely different in China. Audiences there are now piling back into cinemas, which is driving record box office hauls. What's the impact on Hollywood? Let's bring in John Chu. He is director of Crazy Rich Asians and the upcoming film In the Heights. John, so excited to speak with you. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with what's happening in China, because the box office sales there returned to near pre-pandemic levels over the Lunar New Year holidays. People were looking for things to do. They went to the movie theater. What's the read-through for the U.S. movie industry?
Well, I mean, I think as for China, it's really great, and as for globally, for especially here, I think it's a great sign that people are ready to come back and be together and experience a communal experience like the movies. You know, last year at this time, I think it was the eve of the Chinese New Year's when those theaters closed in China, and so the fact that I think Detective Chinatown 3 came out, and to the biggest opening one day ever in any market. I think it was like $400 million, beating out Avengers. I just think that shows that when it's safe and as theaters start to open up, that people are ready, as long as it's safe. And it's a good sign for this coming summer, because there's a lot of movies coming out, including mine. So.
Now, for more updates, visit News 5, the Philippine Star, and Business World online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.